I look disgusting right now. Please do not judge me. So I, being the intelligent intellectual that I am, forgot to film an intro. So this is my intro. Here's the deal. I've been obsessed with Reformation for quite a long time because their clothing is probably the most beautiful thing that I have ever laid my eyes upon in my entire 16 years of living. The problem is each of their pieces of clothing costs around the same price as a kidney. I am not looking to sell my kidney. I did the next best thing, which was dedicate the next 6 hours of my life into creating a Reformation duplicate shirt. Anyway, here's the video. I hope you enjoy it, and we're gonna get into it now. So to start out, I just use this oversized button down shirt, and the bigger the shirt is, the better, because that just gives you more material to work with. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is measuring the width and the length of this weird box area on the shirt. So I just took a measuring tape and measured about where I would want that to go on my body and went on from there. So now I'm taking the height that I just measured and drawing a little rectangle. However, I'm not using the width because I need as much room as possible if I want to make those ruffles. As you're cutting this out, make sure to leave a little bit of extra fabric around the edges for seam allowance. As for the width, you're going to want to make it as wide as you possibly can, and then later on, if you don't need the fabric, you can just cut it off. So now I'm just folding over the fabric and pinning it into place to make all the ruffles for the shirt. So after that, I'm just sewing all the ruffles horizontally until eventually I have something that looks kind of like this. Now that we have the top rectangular area of the shirt done, it's time to move on to the smaller bottom rectangle. So once again, I'm just measuring out the length and the width, except for this time I don't need any excess width fabric because I don't need to make any room for ruffles. Then I'm just folding the edges over and sewing them into place. So now that you have the front part of the shirt, just make sure that both of them combined add up to around how long you want the actual length of the shirt to be, plus a little gap for the lace detailing. Now I am taking this normal sleeve and completely wrecking it by cutting it so it can lay completely flat. For the length, I use the same length that I used for the other two pieces so they can align well. And for the width, I just kind of eyeballed it and guessed, and we can make up for this later with the back piece of the shirt. I made one of my sides slightly angled so that the back part will be lower than the front part of the shirt. Since we need two side pieces, I'm just folding this over, pinning it together, and then doing my best to actually trace onto the other side. And I even brought out my phone flashlight to help me do a better job at this. So now that I have two identical sides, I'm going to fold the edges over and sew them. Now I'm just measuring the bottom and the top of the shirt, and then I am subtracting the bottom area from my waist measurement and the top area from my chest measurement. Now I'm taking said measurements and actually drawing them out onto the front of the shirt, making sure the buttons go straight down the center to get this weird trapezoid looking shape. Afterwards, I realized that the bottoms don't quite align and they kind of go at an angle, so I'm just going to be sewing them straight across. I'm also making sure that I actually separate these two pieces first so the buttons are actually functionable. And before actually sewing the whole thing together, I'm just ironing every single piece so that they look clean and pressed. It's time to add the lace onto the shirt, so I am just cutting what lace I need and then laying it down flat to actually see what the shirt is going to look like. Shirt is finally forming, and the next step I have to do is sew all the pieces together. Now that I have the actual shirt, I am just once again going to be ironing over the lines that I sewed. Since the shirt has tie shoulder straps, I'm cutting out 4 of them that are around 2 inches wide, folding them in half and then sewing them. After this, I just turn them inside out using a pencil. And now here we have our straps. So since they're looking a little bit round, I'm just going to take my iron and flatten them out. Here I am pinning the straps on to around where I think they'll go on the shirt. After trying this on, I realized they were a bit too far out, so I moved them in closer. And then after this, I just quickly sewed the straps on. Another completely optional step that I did was just adding 2 extra buttons so that there would be more buttons on the back of the shirt. There you have it, the shirt is finally finished, so cue the aesthetic and only slightly narcissistic video montage.